Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and for today's video, uh, I'm going to talk about the summary or the overview of the chapter 3 in the NetAcad. So previously, I already made a chapter 3 summary. So what we are going to do here is I'm going to discuss some key terms or important terms need to be remembered here in the chapter 3. So without further ado, let's get started. So first that we're going to discuss here in the chapter 3 is the rules of communications. So we have the rules that must be followed here in establishing communications, which is the rule establishment. So it identify the sender and the receiver, of course, and common language and grammar. Next is the speed and timing of delivery is very important. So you will have the consistency between your communications. So next is confirmation or what you call acknowledgement requirements. So next is the message encoding. So in the message encoding, you will process of the converting information into another acceptable form. So that is the message encoding. So next is the message formatting and encapsulation, message size. There's also the message timing, which has the access method, the flow control, the response timeout, and then the message delivery options. We have the three message delivery option, which is the unicast, multicast, and broadcast. So that is the rules of communications that must be followed or that must be relied when establishing communication. So that is important here in the chapter 3. So next thing that we're going to discuss is about network protocols and standards. So here in network protocols and standards, we have the rules that govern communications and network protocols. We also have the how the roles of protocols and how the message is formatted or how the message is structured, and the process by which the device share information about the pathways and with another network. And lastly, we have in how and when an error and system messages are passed between devices, the setup and the termination of data transfer sessions is the protocol interaction. For example, as the web server and the client. So that is all about the network protocols and the standards. And next is the protocol suite. The protocol suite is an industry standards. So the TCP/IP is an open standard, and the TCP and the IP protocol suite also some protocols from the TCP protocol suite. So next is the standard organizations. So the standard organizations, the open standards name some fetish of the standards and the internet standards. We have also here the net electronics and the communication standards organizations, and that's are some standard organizations that we have. And next is the uh, reference models. So in the reference model, the benefit of using a layered model name, for example, is some benefits of it. The OSI reference model. So it's describe the interconnections between the layers and the OSI model and the TCP/IP models comparison. The similarity of it is that it is both transport and network layers, but the contrast is that the relationship between the layers is different. So that is all about the reference models. And next is the data transfer in the network. So in the data transfer network, message segmentations must be considered also. And before I proceed, segmentation is the breaking of the communication into pieces, and multiplexing is the interleaving the pieces. So we have also the protocol data units and the encapsulations and the decapsulation process. So that is how, or the important terms or key terms that must be remembered in the data transfer in the network. So next is the data access. So in the data access, the network addresses or the source IP address, destination IP address, deliver the IP packet from the original source to the final destination is either on the same network or on the remote network. So the data link addresses, the source data link addresses. We have also the destination data link addresses and the deliver of the data over the link frame from one network interface card to another NIC on the same network. So devices on the same network and the devices on the remote network. So those are the network addresses and the data link addresses in the data access. So basically, in this chapter, began with an review of the layer 2 switching. So this include a look on how a switch segment a network into number of smaller collision domain, as well as how a switch makes a full duplex communication possible. So this was followed by look at the different switching method support by Cisco, including store forward and what you call that, the cut through, uh, the default for the Cisco 1900 series, and a look at the redundancy and loop avoidance. It explains the benefit of having a multiple paths on bridge or switch network. So, but also the potential problem this introduce, namely broadcast storms. The process by which broadcast storms happen was also discussed step by step. So the loop avoidance for bridge networks was covered in the overview of the spanning tree protocol. So the process by which the switches elect a root bridge and the choose root ports and the designated ports were also illustrated. So with example, the for example is the four spamming three ports, which states the listening, the learning, the blocking, and the forwarding were also discussed. So at a look at a VLAN provide an overview of the what you call is the benefits they provide in the segmenting a network into multiple broadcast domains in a switch environment. So in the VLAN trunking protocol or the VTP, was introduced as a way to easily configure a VLAN on the switches across the VTP management domain, which the VTP running was also discussed, and trunking technique is included as a loop tagging protocols such as interswitch linking or the ISL, and the Cisco proprietary protocol for VLAN identification. So that's it for today's video. So we have discussed the rules of communications, the network protocols standards, the protocol suites. We also discussed the standard organizations and reference models, the data transfer in network, on how the data transfer over the network, and we also discuss on how the data is accessed by different network addresses and data link addresses. So basically that's all about in today's video. And if you learn something and if you like this video, please do support my channel by leaving a like and share uh, my channel, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.